Okay, test, radio check. We should be live. Apologies for the 1 or 2 minute delay here, folks. Was just having a few issues getting things started. All right. So, welcome along to the coverage. We are 30 minutes out from the start of qualifying here in Suzuka, and we've had quite the eventful 3 practice sessions. No major crashes, no red flags or anything like that, but we have had a fair share of technical faults over the course of 3 hours of testing. Well, testing, practice, whatever you want to call it. It's been, rather exciting. Okay. Hope you all are well, folks, and if you're tuning in for the first time this weekend, hope you've had a nice 2-week break from the previous race back out in China. Aston Martin is lately very off the pace. Indeed, they are. There's a very, very big margin back to them, to be honest, and hopefully that margin can get smaller and smaller as the season goes on. But they are 4 seconds off the pace by the looks of it here in Suzuka, which seems to follow some of the issues that they've been having, right? Apparently their MGUK is not as good as all of the other teams' MGUK, and here in Suzuka we know that the recharging is already harder than normal compared to other circuits, so having a worse MGUK exacerbates that problem, and you have, an even bigger loss in lap time compared to the leaders. We shall see, though. We shall see. All right. Bro, the map looks weird. Can you rotate it 180? Unfortunately, I can't rotate it because then the text for the drivers' names does not rotate with it. So I can, using my where's it gone? I could technically flip it, but then the letters and the numbers, they're all the wrong way around. So yeah. Antonelli might dominate his second season. Yeah, it is looking more and more good for Antonelli, really. He had his first season in Formula 1, a few mistakes, but still managed to get a podium, still managed to do reasonably well in some sprint races and such. But this season, he's really stepped up his game. And, well, now it's when it counts. Last season, it didn't really matter that much because the McLarens were so far ahead. But right now, it is getting more and more important as the races go on, and Antonelli is looking good as ever. I don't want to write off George Russell just yet either. We know Russell is a very, very talented driver and is quite exceptional at Quali. And, here it is, Suzuka. It is a very driver-oriented racetrack. This is where the drives can make a huge, huge impact on the overall lap time. According to a few of the drivers, because of the new regulations, the impact that the drivers are having are a little bit less, but we'll see how that works out. Are we going to end up with the teams all being sorted, or the drivers all being sorted in team order, with the Mercedes at the front, the Ferraris in second, then the McLarens in third, maybe Audi in fourth, or are we going to get a much more of a mix? Because at the back of the pack, we've got the 2 Cadillacs, the 2 Astons. They're in sort of formation, if you want to put it. Same thing for the Williams. There's only spaced out by Colapinto. Same thing for the Hasses. Same things for the V-Carbs, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens, and if we sort of get this separation, but via the team. What are the results for FP3? The results for FP3 are what you can see up there on the screen. George Russell in a second position, Antonelli in first, and Charles Leclerc 8, nearly 9 tenths back from the quickest lap from Kimi Antonelli. So a lot of improvement there from Charles Leclerc required. If we do look at the theoretical best lap times, Antonelli and George Russell are split by 21 milliseconds. So the gap there of 2 tenths is representative of the fact that George Russell probably made a mistake going through one of the corners. So in the theoretical best lap time world, if you want to consider it that way, then the gap between the two Mercs, 21 milliseconds. So it should be very, very close in terms of the fight for pole position. Looking back at the theoretical best times for the Ferrari, Leclerc only does improve by about 2 tenths of a second, so it is not as big as an improvement as they would like to get close to the Mercs, so there's still more lap time left yeah, there's 2 tenths left of lap time on the table, but not the full 8 tenths, 9 tenths. But, the Ferraris don't really need that. They've got a lot of pace off the line. And, we've got a few people here in the chat. Ferrari lost a lot of grip for some reason, FP1, 2 and 3. And, I would have to agree with you there. In FP1 and FP2, the car was not where Ferrari wanted it to be. It was not very grippy, not very stable. However, in FP3, the car was improved, and, there were still issues with, Leclerc going wide at a few corners. They're getting a few snaps here and there, but you do have to note that at the end of FP3, track temperature here was 38.2 degrees Celsius. Once the qualifying data comes through, it should be significantly lower than that. And, well, it being significantly lower, that will push the balance of the car slightly more rearward, give them a bit more rear stability, give them less overheating, and the issues that Ferrari would having will be resolved by the track conditions themselves. So it seems like what they've done is set up the car correctly for the Quali track conditions and incorrectly for the FP3 conditions, but that's exactly what they should have done. Because you want to have stable setups across FP3 and Quali. Max needs more than prayers. Yeah, thoughts and prayers is not going to get you very far when your car is 19 kilograms overweight. When typically an extra 10 kg can cost you about 3 tenths worth of lap time. So an extra 19 kilograms is costing you about half a second, 6 tenths worth of lap time. A lot of improvement required there from the Red Bull. And according to Carlos Sainz, in these newer regulations, the heavier the car, previously in the previous regs, it was 10 kilograms loses you 3 tenths. But with these newer regs, with the more focus on energy efficiency and those type of things, the extra 10 kilograms could potentially even cost the drivers 4 tenths worth of lap time, not just 3 tenths. So, yeah, I suspect that once the weight is removed, Red Bull will be closer to the will be closer to the Ferraris, will be closer to the McLarens. Still, Mercedes will be a bit out of reach, but, well, they'll be looking to improve their engine as well and their software maps. Okay. Am I late for Quali? No, you are 21 minutes early. Quali will be getting underway in 21 minutes. Simon, good to have a live session with my friend. Yeah, indeed. It is, I guess it is technically live, isn't it? We're about 20 seconds behind from the live broadcast, so not too much of a delay there. Let's hope for a nice Quali. Yeah, folks, actually, I do want to ask you, how many DNFs/crashes do you think that we are going to have here in Quali? Because Suzuka, it's a pretty tough circuit, right? I'll take you through the flying lap. And, if you touch the curbs a little bit too harshly, if you touch the grass on the entry into some of these corners, then very, very easy to spin, very easy to go wide. And, of course, there's always the overlooming issues that you could get with the engine as well in these new regulations. So potentially we could, potentially 2 or 3 DNFs, technical issues. We will just have to wait and see. I'm backing Lindblad. I'm backing Lawson to outqualify Lindblad again. I think Lawson definitely has it within him. And, Lawson also has a bit more experience in Formula 1, so I would expect him to do so really. And should be good for Liam Lawson. I missed the Sushi Man though. Yeah, it's obviously not ideal for Tsunoda. It would have been his home race if he was driving, but he is now a reserve driver, so no on-track time for Yuki Tsunoda, unfortunately. But, potentially we could see some things happen in the future. If Alonso was to leave Aston Martin, then that Honda partnership would pull through strong, and I think Tsunoda would be in the running for a potential drive again. We've seen it happen in the past where the drivers will take a year out and then they'll find themselves back in the sport after the following year. I think Danny Rick did it, we had Hulkenberg do it, we had Bottas do it, and yeah, so I think they should. Tsunoda can definitely find his way back to the sport. He was not a slow driver by any stretch of the imagination, so I think quite a few teams would be happy to have him, especially a Japanese team. So maybe, Toyota could pull some strings and find himself with Yuki Tsunoda driving the Haas car. Do they have the traffic lights on the cross section? Otherwise, there might be a big accident. Yeah, well, that's a funny one there. But no, Suzuka is the only racetrack on the Formula One calendar to intersect itself. For any of you folks that haven't realised that. You have got the track overlapping from itself. This part of Sector 3 going between Spoon Curve and 130R. This part is elevated over the exit of turn number 9. In fact, I can show you here on the recorded lap I've got up on the screen. So let's just fast forward up to here. Yeah, there you go. You can see the little bridge that you've got here where the Qatar Airways banner is. That is the other side of the circuit where the cars are driving over. And yeah, and in fact, you know what, let's take you through a flying lap of the circuit while we are here. So you make your way through the final 2 corners here, just trying to get a smooth run really. You've got the overtake detection points here, so during the race those will be very handy, but just coming down the normal straight, you have got the straight mode activated. Only 2 straight modes here in Suzuka, one down the main straight, one down the back straight. Into the first corner, you tap the brakes and let the engine do a lot of the braking for you, let the MGUK do the slowing down to recharge that battery. Then through the first sector, if the wind is in your favour, you might even be able to get away without touching the brake pedal, just lifting might work out for you. So we'll see if that we'll see how that works. But the drivers make their way through Dunlop Curve, and at this point, right, so let me so you're going through Dunlop Curve here. You've gone through turn number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, you're going through turn number 6, and at that point your tyres are really, really hot. Even if they were under temperature when you started your flying lap, at this point they're already very hot because you've used a lot of the front grip that the tyres have. So through Dunlop, it's a little bit on the edge, and then into Degner 1, this is the tricky part. If you touch the grass here on the entry, so you're coming here towards the entry, we've seen quite a few drivers do it actually. You touch the grass here on the entry, there's no curb or anything, right? It's just painted white line and grass. If you touch the grass, you go straight off into the gravel like I do here, and pretty high probability of crashing. But if you can keep your speed up, you can sort of bounce and dance over the gravel a little bit. Then as you go through Degner 2, this part of the circuit is very cambered, and there's a lot of sort of curvature on the track to help you out and make your way through there. So you can probably make your way there through 4th gear, and then you go under the bridge in towards the hairpin of turn number 11, where you try to brake as much as you can possibly in a straight line. Then quite often you'll see the drivers actually miss the apex here and drift out a little bit further wide, because it actually helps get the car rotated around. You've got more camber again on the outside line rather than the inside line, so it's slightly quicker and slightly beneficial for the tyres to run the wider line. And then you of course get on the power on towards Spoon Curve. No straight mode here, even though the drivers are flat out, because there is a bit of a bend in the road and they don't want to be risking the low downforce through the bends. Then you go towards Spoon Curve. This is where a lot of the drivers have been struggling, because you can see here we approach in 7th gear and then you drop it down to about 5th gear for the first apex of Spoon Curve. So in this situation, the drivers do want to regenerate a lot of the battery into this corner, because you're in 7th gear, you actually have the downforce to be able to use maximum recharge power on the MGUK, but it is a bit tricky and the rear of the car does get a little light, especially on the downshifts. So you know what the drivers can do, they can do their downshifting very, very early on in this sort of phase, in this sort of braking phase. But what that will do is unsettle the rear of the car, because when you shift from 7th to 6th and then 6th to 5th, the computer will try and be as smooth as possible and synchronize the gear shifts as best it possibly can, but it's not going to be perfect, and there's always going to be a little sort of jolt-in force going through the rear wheels, and as you're turning in on the limit of grip, that's what causes the wheels to snap for the drivers, and the drivers are trying to downshift at really high RPM to maximize the battery recharge. But yeah, in the pursuit of recharging the battery too much, the gears won't shift properly, and then you unsettle the rear of the car, you go wide, you get your lap time deleted, you also cannot improve, and that's your lap written off basically. And also then the thing is, because this is so late on in the lap, you do not then have the opportunity to recharge your battery and go again. Like for example, if you make a mistake going through turn number 4 or turn number 5, at that point you can abort the lap, recharge your battery and go again immediately. But if you mess up your lap at Spoon Curve, then you've got to do an entire another slow lap, and then you can go again for your hot lap, which you could potentially not have enough fuel for, and you could also not have enough time for. So yeah, that is another thing to sort of look out for, and that's why it's so tricky, and we've had so many drivers go off at Spoon Curve. Then so you hit the first apex here by trying to downshift early, then again into 4th gear, get onto the power as early as you can, because you've got this big long straight, and your second straight mode will get activated here. You drop your front wing, drop your rear wing. Ferrari using the standard rear wing, no Macarena rear wing for the Ferraris here in Suzuka. 130R is nice and easy. The drivers in fact sometimes are super clipping through this corner to get the battery ready for the rest of the lap, and you go through turns number 16 and 17, and that is the final lap, and that's the final corner of Suzuka basically. Yeah, so that's the lap of Suzuka. Nice circuit really. It's one of my favourites. Yeah. Merck said it was a calibrating error and won't happen again. Yeah, it was an interesting one really from Mercedes. Their front wing was not closing as quickly as it should have. Cheers mate for spamming, that's really, really helpful. But what was the question? Oh yes, the front wing of Mercedes. Yes, so the rules say that your front wing and your rear wing have to close within the space of 0.4 seconds. Open and close, between the space of 0.4 seconds. And, well, the Mercedes one wasn't doing that. I'm a bit surprised really how they didn't get disqualified. Apparently there was some sort of grey area that allowed them to get away with it, but it was... yeah, it was definitely interesting to say the least. When I first read that news, I was like, what? They are... Yeah, it didn't really make much sense, but now it's been clarified, and yeah, they miscalculated the amount of hydraulic pressure needed to open and close the front wing with all of the force going through the... with all of the forces required, essentially, because at the end of the straight in China, the drivers are going around 300 or so kilometers per hour, and... well, you've got huge amounts of forces to then rotate a flat plate up into sort of a vertical orientation. So, yeah, they miscalculated the forces, miscalculated the hydraulic pressure. Okay. Did anything interesting happen in FP3? We had Lando Norris with gearbox issues. So that was... oh, sorry, not gearbox issues, battery issues. We'll be getting the data coming through now, folks. So that was that. The battery issues for Lando Norris. We'll see if they get resolved, really. But I feel like it's going to be a continuous underlying issue with that battery pack, because at some point, if you drop below the minimum safe voltage for the battery, the cells get irreparably damaged, which means that then to repair them, it's either you've just got to replace the entire thing, or it's a very technically difficult thing to repair. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Am I at home? Yes, I am. I've got some holidays from university, so I've come back to my parents' house. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It goes a very long way to helping out the channel and ensuring that, well, the channel keeps on cooking, and hopefully we can make our way towards 250k subscribers very, very soon. That would be fantastic. What time is it here? It is 5:50 a.m. I mean, it's yeah, you can always just search London time or UK time, and you'll be able to find out. So, all right. So, what else? Oh yeah, someone asked, what do I think about the Ferrari rear grip issues? The Ferrari rear grip issues will be resolved by the fact that track temperature has come down to now 32 degrees, and it is expected to continue falling throughout qualifying. So, as the temperatures continue falling, the rear grip levels of the Ferrari will keep increasing, and yeah, you won't have to worry about that. So, That is the thing there. And again, a lot of the teams have been struggling with rear grip, and that is definitely because they've been trying to downshift too early, and the rear of the car getting the rear wheels getting unsettled by the downshifts, which then, when they are on the limit of grip trying to downshift, when they're on the limit of grip and they get this little disturbances in the rear wheels, it causes them to lose traction. So, folks, the broadcast is live on Service TV and on SRF. So if you're on an Austrian VPN server, you can go to Service TV, and if you are on a Swiss VPN server, you can go to SRF, and you will be able to watch the Formula One coverage. Okay, so when will the compression loophole get closed? Well, look, they are supposedly going to change the rules out in, is it July or something like that? So there's still a while till the rules get changed. But we don't even know if the compression ratio is going to get, sort of fixed by that regulation change or not. So we will just have to wait and see. Yeah. F1 Game, you got to record a lap on the new Madrid circuit, right? Yes, I will have to somehow record a lap on the new Madrid circuit. I'll probably have to get a mod on Assetto Corsa and then record the lap there. Yeah. Will Max make it into Q3? I think Max will make Q3. I don't know how well he'll do in Q3, but I think Q3 should be expected, unless there's some sort of extraordinary issues. But we'll wait and see. What time is the race tomorrow? The race should be starting around about this time. I'm not 100% sure because the clocks are also changing in the UK. So give me just a second and I'll figure it out. Is there any truth to the rumor that Gunter Steiner will be joining the Audi team as soon as team principal? No, I don't. I don't think there's any truth to those rumors. Unfortunately, it would be pretty nice to have Gunter Steiner joining, but I don't think that is the case. Yes, folks, the race is starting tomorrow at so whatever time it is in the world for you right now, it will be starting 1 hour prior to this tomorrow, unless you're in the UK, because the clocks are changing in the UK tomorrow. So yeah, UK time tomorrow, it is 6 a.m, but for the rest of the world, wherever you are, it will be 1 hour behind whatever time it is right now, and that's when the race is starting, so in 23 hours time. Okay, so yeah, 6 minutes now, 6 minutes till we get underway. Okie dokes. Let's see, what is Twitch chat saying? Waiting for the placeholder for tomorrow's race, my brother Larry. I will be, I'll put it up once we get to Q3. Once we get to Q3, I'll put the thing up, because otherwise both of the things pop up. So the people that are expecting to find the Quali stream will have the race stream pop up to them. So that's the reason I don't put it up. And yeah, track temperature is going to be going down because it is it's past midday in Japan, so it's getting dark. It's getting closer and closer to the evening, so the sun's getting lower and lower, and that's why temperature's going down. All right. Yeah. Okie dokes. Which football team do I support? I don't really watch much football, to be honest. I might watch. To be fair, I might watch the World Cup a little bit, but I don't know. Can Hamilton qualify on pole? Look, I mean, anything can technically happen, Technically, I could qualify on pole. They've just got to fly me out to Japan. They've got to delay the qualifying and then get me in the car. Everyone else has got to crash and I get pole position. So, but no, I think Hamilton is in with a shot, but I think it heavily requires the Mercedes to have some sort of problems for Hamilton to actually get pole position. Didn't realize you streamed here as well. Yeah, I'm live on Twitch. I only started going live at the Australian Grand Prix, so only 3 Do I watch cricket? I do occasionally watch cricket. Well, when I say I occasionally watch cricket, I'll watch some. I'll watch the ODI World Cup, and that's about it. Yeah. Okay. What's my favourite motorsport after Formula One? I've got to say MotoGP. Really, MotoGP is pretty cool, and just the overtakes being so close to each other, and you can see the riders hanging off their bikes on like going through the corners. I just think it's pretty dang cool. And motorcycles themselves also, they have got the probably the best ratio of top speed per dollar, like in terms of how much money you could spend. Like you can spend what, like 30,000 on a motorcycle, and it would be able to beat pretty much every single supercar in a drag race. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Not that I've got 30,000 to spend on a Ninja H2 or anything, but just the fact that they exist is pretty awesome. All right, 3 minutes and 20 seconds remain. We'll get the drivers making their way out onto the circuit. Once again, it'll be 18 minutes for Q1, 15 minutes for Q2, 12 minutes for Q3. We will have the bottom 6 drivers getting eliminated in Q1, the bottom 6 drivers getting eliminated in Q2, and we will remain with the top 10 for Q3. All right. The race is at 6 a.m. tomorrow in the UK. Yeah, 6 a.m. What time do I support? What team do I support? I guess Williams. Williams has been the team that I've sort of been supporting. Williams and Aston Martin. Not really great that they're the back of the pack, but it is what it is. I need a motorcycle fun stream. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. What am I going to do for the whole month of April? I've got to write my dissertation for my university degree, so that's what I'm going to be doing over the course of April. Yeah. And I've got a few exams to prepare for as well. I might make a few videos if I get some time, but yeah, I think my university dissertation is going to take some priority. Okie dokes. Who else have I not talked about for a little while? Bortoletto, actually. Bortoletto's been doing pretty well. He's been out qualifying Hulkenberg on a few occasions as well. And I'd like to see what he can do in Quali today. Of course, hasn't had the best luck in terms of reliability, have either of the Audis. I don't know if both of them have made it to the end of a race. I think in Australia, one of them DNF'd before they started. Yeah, I mean, it's not been great for Audi, but considering the fact that this is the first time they've built a Formula One engine, I've got to say it's pretty dang good, isn't it? It's pretty dang good. Can you get rid of the chat covering the screen? I will. I mean, once Quali begins, I'll get rid of the chat. Of course, we don't need chat up when Quali is getting underway. Are you considering commentating on MotoGP in the future? Well, to be honest, I don't know that much about MotoGP. I also don't know where I'd get the data from, and quite a lot of the time they overlap with Formula One. So, I mean, I'll see. I was thinking about starting a second channel called F2 Gamer, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll do some random stuff on there if I was to make that channel. What is my favourite track? It is right there behind me. It is Interlagos in Brazil. Did Lando run in FP3? He did. I think he completed only about 11 laps or something. I can't remember exactly, but he didn't do a huge amount of laps. Okay, let's get rid of the YouTube chat, and let's also get rid of this countdown timer, and we are about to get underway for Q1, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Brilliant. Folks, if you haven't hit the like button already, be sure to do so. And the other thing that I would like to mention is that if you guys do want to watch the Formula One coverage, you can watch it up on Servers TV. That's how I am watching it. And yeah, you can watch the coverage that way. There's a link in the description to connect to Service TV using Proton VPN. It's $1 a month, and yeah, it works pretty well. Okie dokes. So we've got the drivers coming out on the track. Lawson, Lindblad, Stroll, Alonso, Ocon, Behrman, first 6 cars out onto the racetrack. Very good to see, very good to see. Okie dokes, so we've got the Williams out as well, Bottas out, and Perez is also following him out. Okay, good to see that we are getting all of the cars out onto the racetrack now. And fresh set of soft tyres for everyone, as expected really, because it is qualifying at the end of the day. So they're being told to work the fronts, of course, bring those fronts up to temperature, because it is pretty dang important to get those front tyres up to temperature. Otherwise, you're going into the first sector, which relies heavily on front grip without any front grip. So, yeah. There we go, and we always seem to get a lot of team radios here from Bottas and Perez. I would love to get some, if there were any stats to check how much the teams are talking over the radio. I think Cadillac are always talking the most, but at least it seems like that over the data screens. Alrighty. So here we go then, folks. Here we go. Few quali laps underway. Only the bottom half of the grid is right now on the racetrack, because I guess they're sort of just waiting for the track to get cleared up a little bit, and for that reason the other teams are waiting for the track to get cleared up a little bit, and for that reason we've only got the lower teams out there. But nevertheless, we are getting some nice laps here from Lindblad and Lawson. They're pushing nice and hard, to be fair. And Lindblad goes marginally quicker than Lawson in sector number 1. Not too major, though, as of right now, is the gap between the two racing bulls. And honestly, their livery, spectacular, as I've been saying quite often, to be honest, this weekend. Okay. Did I get any sleep at all? Unfortunately, no, I didn't get any sleep between FP3 and Quali, but it's all right. I've had 2 coffees, so I should be able to make it through the Quali stream just fine, and then sleep afterwards. First lap time on the board, ladies and gentlemen. It is a 1:31.7 from Liam Lawson. Nice job there from him. Arvin Lindblad goes about a tenth and a half quicker than his teammate, so nice to see there. But Esteban Ocon is currently on a purple first sector, purple second sector. Looking good there from him. Stroll across the line. 3 seconds off Lindblad's pace. Alonso goes half a second quicker than Stroll. Totally unsurprising, to be frankly honest there. And we've got Ocon up into P1, 1/10 up from Arvin Lindblad. Ollie Behrman comes across the line. He's about half a second back from his teammate. Still some improvement there to be done from Ollie Behrman. Bottas comes across the line 1.5 seconds back from Ocon, but he is still 8 tenths clear of Fernando Alonso. All right. Also, I don't know why the Formula 1 broadcast is now not showing us the timer on the left-hand side of the screen. Like, why do they purposely get rid of the numbers off the broadcast? It is honestly infuriating, but there we go. We've now got the timer on the board, but we've not got who's in what position and the gaps, but whatever. Where can I watch it live using the VPN? You can go on, connect to an Austrian VPN server, and then Service TV. Service TV, I'll just pop it up on the screen. You can pause and you can check it out. Aston Martin in the top 10, let's go. Yeah, the only way that Aston Martin are going to be in the top 10 is when there's only 10 cars that have set laps. We've now currently got the rest of the cars out onto the circuit. The only team yet to come out onto the circuit just yet are the 2 Williams. What's above the radio messages? Above the radio messages, you have got the fastest sectors. So the Ocon is fastest in the first sector, Lindblad is second fastest, and Albon is third fastest. In the third sector, Lindblad's the fastest, Sainz is second fastest. So it's which driver is quickest in which sector. Okay. So there we go. Did I say Williams aren't out? Apologies, folks. I definitely meant Mercedes. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely the lack of sleep that's catching up to me. Currently on 3.5 hours, so do apologise for any of the mistakes that I say. I definitely remember once I said it was snowing. I think it was the Dutch Grand Prix. I said it was snowing instead of raining or something like that. Yeah, it's just a classic F1 gamer mistake. Alright, Charles Leclerc fastest in the first sector, Oscar Piastri fastest in the second sector so far. Piastri comes across the line, P1, 1/10 clear of Esteban Ocon. Let's see what the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc can do. Hamilton is about 1.5 tenths back in the first sector. Lando Norris is 2 tenths back from Piastri, but considering Norris has had barely any practice this session, or in the past 3 practice sessions in Suzuka because of his issues with his car, it's a fairly decent job there. Nico Hülkenberg, P3, he's only 4 tenths back from Piastri and 2 tenths back from Norris. Give a hand out to Nico Hülkenberg. Great job in the Audi. Hamilton splits the 2 McLarens and he is marginally ahead of Norris and 2 tenths back from Piastri. Bortoletto goes ahead of Hülkenberg by about 1/10, and the Audis are getting closer and closer as the weekend goes on, and Charles Leclerc up into P1. Ladies and gentlemen, Audi has won in every single motorsport that they have taken part in, and this is the first time they've entered Formula 1, and it looks to be they are on to continue their record of getting, well, potentially winning in every single motorsport they've taken part in. It's looking good for them. We'll see what the Mercs can do. They're out on the circuit right now as well. We've got Verstappen up into P5. He gets ahead of the Audis, but is still behind the McLarens. Alright, Hadjar up into P4. Hadjar going quicker than Verstappen. What is going on here? Verstappen is purple in the final sector though, and Charles Leclerc still holding the quickest first sector. Pierre Gasly is in P8, and we have now got the Mercedes drivers on their flying laps. Kimi Antonelli is second fastest in sector number 1, and that car looks mightily stable as he makes his way through the Suzuka S's, and the undulations and the elevation changes is spectacular for the drivers as they go through sector 1 into towards sector number 2. George Russell's first sector not as good as Antonelli's, in fact is 4 tenths down, so Russell significantly down in the first sector. We'll see if he can make it up in sector number 2 or 3, but it seems like there was some sort of mistake there for Russell, and he hasn't got the rhythm that Antonelli's currently got flowing through him. Purple in sector number 2 for Kimi Antonelli is 39.9. That is exactly 1/10 faster than Piastri in sector number 2. And Antonelli now comes through the final 2 corners. Foot is flat to the floor, takes the inside line towards the start finish, and it is P1 by only half a tenth. Only half a tenth. That is a very small margin indeed. His final sector was about 2 tenths down on Verstappen, and the Mercedes advantage that we thought they supposedly had seems to be, well, quite minor. George Russell across the line, P5. He is 6 tenths back. Firstly, the gap between Antonelli and Russell never has been this big in the favour of Kimi Antonelli, and they have never been this close to everyone else. They've normally been quite the big margin ahead. So are they sandbagging in Q1? I'm not so sure, but only time will tell. We've had 22 drivers set their lap times, and the drivers currently in the drop zone are Carlos Sainz, Ollie Behrman, Sergio Perez, Valtteri Bottas, Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, and just as I said that, Ollie Behrman finds himself out of the elimination zone. We've got the 2 Williams, the 2 Cadillacs and the 2 Aston Martins in the elimination zone of Q1, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I mean, let's look at the theoretical best lap times. It's not like, well, to be fair, they've only done one lap, so they can't really get any improvements on the theoretical best, but we'll see. We'll see what they do in Q2 and in Q3. Hulkenberg across the line, P5 for Nico Hulkenberg, and track temperature, folks, is dropping. It's now down to 32 degrees Celsius, or 31.5, and it will continue to fall as there isn't too much sun in the sky, and in fact, there's quite a lot of clouds. We have got the two McLarens. They are in P3 and P4 after improving on their second flying laps. So it's 3 tenths back there for Piastri and 3.5 tenths back for Norris. So Norris getting closer to Piastri on his second lap. And purple final sector there for Nico Hulkenberg. Brilliant. Okay, Stroll improves, 20th position for him, still not enough really. Carlos Sainz fastest through the third sector speed trap, Bortoletto third fastest as well, but a big disconnect between the performance in the speed trap and the performance overall. Okay. 6 minutes and 50 seconds remain. Thanks everyone for tuning in. By the way, how many people have we got tuned in? We've got 10,000 people tuned in. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. Hopefully we can make our way towards 2,500 likes. Russell comes over the radio. Something doesn't feel quite right. I've got loads of oversteer, and they come over the radio to say that the surface temperatures are out of balance. And then Russell says aerodynamically it feels quite strange. So Russell sort of implying that it isn't a tire temperature problem. It is much more of an aerodynamic problem. Of course, Russell will feel these issues, right? If the issues present themselves at much higher speeds, then it's much more likely to be aerodynamics. If it presents themselves at lower speeds, then it seems to be more of a tire temperature mechanical grip issue. But Russell will see that in the well, he can feel it in the car. The engineers will see it in the numbers, and there's some issues to resolve down on the George Russell's car. Okay, we got Charles Leclerc purple in the first sector, and Hamilton also on a quick lap here as well. Marginally slower in the first sector, slower in the middle sector, and Leclerc is still improving. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2 from Charles Leclerc. He is extracting every ounce of performance he can. Hamilton improves on his second lap, but cannot get close to Leclerc's first lap, and Leclerc's second lap, as he comes across a line, it is P1 by 1.5 tenths or 1.2 tenths. Yeah, he does not improve in the final sector. Still some more work to do there, but his first and second sector times were better overall. He did get a little bit of a toe off Hamilton got a little bit of a toe off one of the Audis. Leclerc did not, but regardless, it was pretty good there from Charles Leclerc. Oscar Piastri clearly not too happy there over the radio. Effed my car up, so I don't know exactly what he's referring to, but he's not too pleased with how his qualifying session's going, to be honest. Unless his car is totally broken, but we'll see what Oscar's saying. And Alonso talking about the aero balance there not being great for him. Again, track temperatures now further down to 30 degrees Celsius. I suspect by the end of Q3 we'll be getting down to 25 or so. Okay. Max is P9, fresh. It's not a fresh set of softs actually. He's currently out on a used set of soft tyres. Okay. Are the mini sectors based on the driver's previous lap or the number one driver's lap? The mini sectors are based off the driver's personal best lap. So it's not the previous lap, personal best is what it is based off. So yellow will be slower than their personal best, green will be quicker than their personal best, and purple will be quickest out of all of the drivers. Okay. Alrighty then, 12,000 people tuned in. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. And yeah, well, I'll be live for the race tomorrow as well, so be sure to tune in to that one. It was always great fun to commentate to you guys. And also, if you prefer watching over on Twitch, then be sure to watch over on Twitch. If that's what you prefer, I might have a slightly better chance of replying to Twitch chat than YouTube chat, just because YouTube chat is going by so quickly. Okay. 3 minutes left on the clock. The drivers will be coming out to do their final runs. We'll have some drivers out on fresh set, some drivers out on used set. So as you can see, Russell is out on a used set of tyres, so is Hadjar and Verstappen, but from about 12th position and below, we have got everyone out on a fresh set of softs. I suspect Bottas and Colapinto will also be coming out onto the circuit with a fresh set of soft tyres when they eventually leave the pit lane. Hulkenberg, strangely, coming out of the pits also on a fresh set of soft tyres. I mean, he's up in P6, so there's no reason for him to really be pushing because he's safely going to make it through into Q2. But if you've got the set of soft tyres there available to you, you might as well make use of them. Max Verstappen is well, driving quite nicely actually. The car looks all right, even though it might be understeering a little bit going through some of these corners, and his first and second sectors are still personal bests, and it looks like he'll be able to improve and get closer to the McLarens. All right. Impressive performance by Nico Hulkenberg, indeed so. Oh, George Russell has just gone purple in the middle sector, so clearly whatever issues they were having, they have been resolved, and you do need quite a bit of aerodynamic grip going through Diagonal 1 and 2, and also on the exit of Spoon Curve, so it could have been as could have been an aerodynamic problem fixed there, or it could have been surface temperatures being fixed coming out of the hairpin, where you need a lot of that mechanical grip from the tyres. But George Russell improves on a used set of tyres. I'd like to clarify, used set of tyres, and he's half a tenth back from Charles Leclerc, but Leclerc's lap was also set on a used set of tyres, so level playing field there between the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc and the Mercedes of George Russell. This qualifying is shaping up to be very, very exciting indeed, and I really do hope that the Mercedes aren't sandbagging their Q1 performances, because, well, the fight for pole position is looking very, very exciting as of right now. Max Verstappen improves 7th position for him on his previous lap. Isaac Hadjar unable to improve actually on the used set of soft tyres, and he goes 2/10 slower than his previous personal best. The slash on the tyre means it is a used set of tyre when they came out the pit lane, so you can see Russell when he came out of the pits, used set of tyre, same thing for Norris, same thing for Verstappen. If you haven't got a slash, like all of the drivers here in the bottom half of the grid, that means they came out of the pits on a fresh set of tyres. Okay. They don't want Ferrari to get ADUO. For any of you folks that aren't familiar with ADUO, I don't know exactly what it stands for, but it's something like additional development time. Yeah, the AD I think is additional development, but basically it allows the teams to develop the car a little bit more, a little bit further, if they are deemed to be too far back from the front-running team. So Honda are definitely getting this additional time because they are so far back compared to the Mercs, but Mercedes supposedly sandbagging a little bit to prevent the Ferrari team from getting this additional development time. Is it overcast for the race? It seems to be overcast for the race. That is correct. We have got Liam Lawson improving up into 9th position there for Liam Lawson, not too shabby, and he is 4 places up from his teammate there, Arvin Lindblad. The middle of the field looking quite close from about, I don't know, from 5th position all the way to 14th position. You've got a gap of about 0.6 of a second, so not the biggest gap there, to be honest, and very, very tight where every single 10th matters. You've got the two Audis in P6 and in P7, and split by only 1 millisecond. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. The gap between Hulkenberg and Bortoleto, 1 millisecond, very, very closely matched, and well, they're extracting every single bit of performance that they can from the Audi car, because, well, that's just what they do. When you see two teammates right next to each other in terms of lap time, you know that they've extracted all of the pace that they can from the car, and we have got the Audis doing quite well. Piastri on his third lap on this set of soft tyres, improves up into P4, so still improving on a used set of tyres, more pace to be extracted from the McLaren team. And Lando Norris has got to pick up the pace soon enough. Currently in the drop zone, ladies and gentlemen, we have got Alex Albon and Ollie Behrman, Sergio Perez, Bottas, Alonso and Stroll, and it seems to be all of those drivers are eliminated. yeah, they've all improved on their previous laps, but it was just not enough to actually make it through into Q2. So, just to confirm, Albon, Behrman, Perez, Bottas, Alonso, and Stroll have been eliminated in Q1, ladies and gentlemen. Q2 will be beginning very, very shortly. And yes, it is a bit of a surprise, to be honest, to be seeing the Williams making it through into Q2. But, you know, they've clearly they've been making some improvements and some upgrades. They have brought some upgrades as far as I remember when I checked the FIA documents at the start of the weekend. So Williams have got some upgrades, and into Q2 they go. So steady progress from the Williams team. What happened to Behrman? I don't know. I think on his previous lap, his most recent lap, he just could not improve. Typically, he does better than Esteban Ocon in qualies, but clearly not in this weekend. And also, you've got to look, the gaps were pretty close, right? He was only a tenth and a half back from Esteban Ocon, or 2/10 back, and you know, that's a little mistake, a little snap of oversteer on the exit of spoon, and you lose your 2/10. So yeah, it's the margins are pretty fine. All right. The top 16 are within a second. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You know, we were saying you do have to take into account that the top drivers were all out on used tyres. So everyone in the top 9, with the exception of the Audis, were out on... Oh, Antonelli was also out on a fresh set of softs. But either way, what I'm saying is a lot of the front runners were out on used sets, which means that when they did their laps, they aren't representative of their true pace, whereas the drivers at the bottom of the pack, they're using their fresh set of tyres. So it's a slight misrepresentation of the gap between the top and bottom, but you know, we'll see. German engineering, Audi shows up. Yeah, honestly, they we've got the Mercedes doing some pretty good engineering there from Germany, and Audi have shown up with I think their factories in Stuttgart, right? If I remember, they've got the Sauber sort of aero development in Switzerland, in Hinwil, and they have got their engine development in Stuttgart, or is it a different city? But either way, good development work from Audi. Yeah, let me pop a timer up on the screen for Q2, but it's not going to be too far away, folks. There we go. It should be a minute and 12 seconds, if I have calculated it correctly. But let's see. Ingolstadt Audi. Oh, is it in a different place? I'm not sure. Okay. Either way, that is that. Q1 over, Q2 about to get underway. Ooh, Albon not too happy over the radio. I complained for 3 races in a row that there's something wrong, but I'm sure that it's my driving style. I'm not sure if Albon is going to be too pleased about that. I don't know exactly what he's referring to, but I know that he's been pretty vocal about the car not being working that well for him, and he's only a 10th back from Sainz. Like, the margin isn't that big, but I suspect, you know, if Albon has been complaining about the medium speed corners, for example, and if he's losing time in the medium speed corners, he's not going to be pleased about that. But yes, he's been eliminated, and his teammate Carlos Sainz has not been eliminated. How many laps in the race? I think it's 53 laps in the race. 53 laps, or 53 or 51, but I think it's 53. Okie dokes. Well, Q2 is about to get underway, folks. 30 seconds remain. We've been promoted from Oscar might win the race to Oscar might start the race. Well, he's there in P4, and seems like so far this weekend things have been going well for him. So hopefully he can start the race. That'll be good. Oh, we got Charles Leclerc here with his eyes closed, turning the steering wheel, and he's sort of visualizing his way through the lap. This is actually an interesting thing. Mika Hakkinen used to do this, and there's a few interesting stories from his race engineer, but basically before Quali, Mika Hakkinen would sort of apparently he would go into his sort of room in the motorhome and turn off all the lights, and then sort of sit there in the driving position, like with his feet up and everything, and he would visualize the lap, and he would then say, "Oh, I'm going to set a 1 minute 27.5." And then he would go out into Quali, and he would actually set a 1 minute 27.5. Like, it is quite incredible how the drivers have the ability to do that. He just goes back into the motorhome, imagines himself doing the Quali lap. He can feel the grip, he can imagine it, what the car is going to do, and then he knows what lap times he's going to set before qualifying even begins. I mean, the aura that Mika Hakkinen had when he would do that, pretty dope, I've got to say. Okay. So here we go, ladies and gents. We are 1 minute into Q2, and we have got the two Mercedes, the two Ferraris, the two Red Bulls out on the racetrack. The McLarens are yet to leave the garage just yet. If your mind can conceive it, your body can achieve it. Exactly. It is... You've got to, firstly, you've got to believe that you're going to get set pole position. Otherwise, what's even the point in trying, you know? It's that Max Verstappen quote, isn't it? You know, you've got to believe that you're the best. Otherwise, it's better to just stay at home or something along those lines. And, there we go. All right. Mika Hakkinen versus Michael Schumacher's peak F1. Honestly, I also think so. I would have loved to watch those battles live. But here I am watching the replays instead. Regardless, I think the respect that Mika Hakkinen and Michael Schumacher had between the two, and the fierce but fair racing that they had, very borderline. But I think borderline fair and aggressive is probably the best way to describe it. That was, I'm sure there's quite a few people here watching the stream that have watched those battles. Okay. Here we go then. We have got used sets of tyres here. The Mercs and the Mercedes out on used sets of tyres, and the Red Bulls out on fresh sets. So just keep that in mind when you see the drivers setting their lap times. I'm happy to witness Hamilton versus Rosberg. Hamilton versus Brittany was pretty good. Honestly, you've got to say it was some pretty good racing between the two of them. Who do I think is going to get pole position? Let's go with Charles Leclerc. Why not? Okay, 12 minutes left on the clock. We've got all of the drivers now out onto the circuit. The McLarens come out with a fresh set of soft tyres. So the only drivers out on with used tyres on the circuit right now, the two Mercedes, the two Ferraris, and Carlos Sainz. Everyone else is out on fresh tyres. The race is at what time? Whatever time it is in the world for you right now, if you go back 1.5 hours, that is the time the race will be starting. Unless you're in the UK, which it will be, the race will only be starting half an hour back from the time that it is right now, because our clocks are changing for daylight saving. Right, here we go then. The two Mercedes come across the line with a 1:29.7 from Kimi Antonelli, a 1:30.1 from George Russell, and Charles Leclerc splits the two Mercedes, and he's only 11 milliseconds back. Oh my god. Charles Leclerc, also take this into account, folks, Charles Leclerc's tyres are 8 laps old, Antonelli's were 5 laps old. So that means that, with the fresh tyres for both of them, Leclerc is theoretically faster, which is, it's looking good for the Ferrari team. And as I said in some of the free practice sessions, if Ferrari can hold a 1-2 at the end of lap number 1, and then they work together to keep the Mercedes behind, they can easily finish in 1-2. Suzuka overtaking is extremely difficult, and I think the Mercedes in a 1 versus 1 with the Ferraris will win because of their superior race pace. But if it's a 2 versus 1 and the Ferrari can hold it together in terms of strategy and on track, then I don't think the Mercedes will be able to get past. Russell says he's struggling with the rear end, so still more issues for George Russell. Track temperature is still falling, 29.4 degrees. The rear end should be coming more and more in his favour, but that is just seems to not be the case. Hulkenberg purple in the final sector, quickest out of anyone, and it seems like he's deploying a whole lot of his battery going through sector number 3 on the exit of the final chicane, and it's helping him out quite significantly in terms of lap time. All right, Gabriel Bortoletto, P3. Once again, ladies and gents, it is a fresh set of tyres for him. Everyone else is out on a used set, but, you know, it's still a good lap regardless. Okay. And also, yeah, the gap between Russell and Hamilton, 1 millisecond, very, very close between the two former teammates. Alright, Oscar Piastri, purple first sector, Oscar Piastri, purple second sector, and this is not just purple in, you know, Q2. This is purple overall. You can see here on the below the track map, Oscar Piastri fastest in the first sector, fastest in the second sector. This is overall. This includes Q1 as well, and some mega pace from the Aussie. And he's had enough of not taking part in qualifying, not taking part in races, and he's decided, I'm just going to stick it on pole and just win right from the get-go. And 3/10 is the advantage that he has got over Kimi Antonelli, and 3.5 is the advantage that he has got over his teammate. Welcome back, Oscar Piastri. It is a fresh set of tyres, so, you know, you take that into account, but you're not losing that much time because of one lap that you've done on the tyres. So I think Antonelli is going to be run for his money with Oscar Piastri pushing quite hard here. No radio display from Hamilton. You've just got the radio here coming through. Go to Parc Ferme. There's not a huge amount of radio over the quali laps, to be honest. The drivers are sort of left in their own zone to focus and to, well, sort of imagine what their quali laps are going to be like and focus on their quali laps, essentially. There's not too much talking over the radio apart from just watch out for traffic behind you. Okay. So that is the first half of Q2 complete, and everyone has set a lap. Some drivers on fresh tyres, some drivers on old tyres. We've got the Mercedes of George Russell actually out on a fresh set of soft tyres, so it seems to be they have made some more setup change. Well, actually, they can't make setup changes anymore, folks, to George Russell's car because the setup has been decided for quali, and nothing more can be changed. So apart from the front wing angle and some differential settings, so now Russell is going to have to drive around the issues that he's having in terms of no rear stability, and we'll see what he can do. Verstappen is P9 and P10. He's in fact losing out to Isaac Hadjar here. Isaac Hadjar doing pretty dang well. We've got Lando Norris into the pit lane now. Good to see from him. So the only car out on track is George Russell. In fact, what I might do is in fact sync up my flying lap with George Russell's flying lap. It's not going to be perfect because, you know, I crashed on my flying... Well, I didn't crash. I went out onto the gravel trap on my flying lap. But let's sync this up. Okay. And there's also not too many team radios coming over because, well... George Russell's the only car out on track, right? So I don't mind covering up the team radios for a second while we sync this up. So here comes Russell making his way to the final chicane, and here we go. Quali on board. So down you go, down the hill, in towards the start-finish straight. You activate the straight mode, of course, to give you a bit of a boost in top speed in towards turn number 1. Hamilton and Leclerc should get out of the way here for George Russell. In towards turn number 1 you go, tap the brakes a little bit and carry as much speed as you can to... Well, keep the momentum going now through the first sector. You've got the wind blowing in the correct direction here. So ideally, Russell is not even going to be tapping the brakes. He's just going to be feathering the throttle, lifting off the throttle, letting the MGUK doing a bit of recharging, and then he makes his way through Dunlop Curve now, hugging the inside line to minimise the distance that he travels. Now in towards Degner 1. Wants to tap the brakes, flick the car to the right, hope that it sticks, and stick it does for George Russell. Then through Degner 2, the car is looking a little bit better, but still, you know, he's got to be careful because the rear career could snap out at any moment if any of his previous laps are to go by. It's a 32.1 in the first sector. That is third fastest in sector number 1. He is 30 milliseconds back from Oscar Piastri, who's currently in P1, and now heading towards Spoon Curve, getting the early downshifts in to get the battery recharge done, and then in towards the exit of Spoon Curve onto the power, nice and early for George Russell. And I got the straight mode activated again. 130R is a breeze. I mean, he could take this corner one-handed with one eye shut as well. And now going in towards the final chicane, onto the brakes he goes. And what's it going to be for George Russell? Can he get a smooth exit? Yes, he can. And across the line comes George Russell, P2, 3/10 back. A fresh set of tyres. I'd like to clarify, folks, fresh set of tyres for George Russell, and it is still P2. Ooh. By 3/10 of a margin, 3/10 as well. It's not like it was very, very close. Fresh sets of softs, and it's still P2. I don't think they're sandbagging anymore, ladies and gentlemen. And the McLarens may have figured out the software tweaks and the trickery that Mercedes was using. And, well, McLaren seem to be a force to contend with. We've now got the flying laps getting underway from Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen and Hadjar currently on their out laps. They need to get out of the way of Charles Leclerc to make sure they don't get any grid penalties coming their way. Oscar got that dog in him. Yeah, Oscar, honestly, that was a mega lap. And Charles Leclerc seems to be going to beat it. Oh my God! Charles in the first sector, that was 3/10 faster just in the first sector alone. Incredible commitment through turns number 7 and 5 for Charles Leclerc. I think that's where he gained all of his lap time. And let's see what's going on here. Has Hamilton backed out of his lap? I think Hamilton... Oh no, I don't think Hamilton's backed out. I think he's just going a little slowly relative to Charles Leclerc. And 40.058 in the middle sector for Lewis Hamilton. That is a personal best. Let's see what Charles Leclerc can do. His middle sector also isn't looking that great, but it is about a 10.5 up on Lewis Hamilton's first middle sector. And here come the two Ferraris towards the start-finish line. Lewis Hamilton improves. It's only P6. He is half a second back from Oscar Piastri. A really good race start is not going to save him if he's on the third row of the grid. Charles Leclerc, P1, 1.5 tenths clear, and he's also 6 tenths ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Wow, what a lap from Charles. I mean, he was there sat visualizing the lap with his eyes closed, and he has put that lap together in real life. His theoretical best is his personal best. Job done from Charles Leclerc. Great lap. We've now got the two Mercs on their flying laps. Kimi Antonelli, fresh set of soft tyres. What can he do? He was looking very, very good. Russell seems to be complaining over the radio even more. Something missing here. I can't have lost that much pace. Have a look through everything. He thinks that there's something wrong with the car. Something is going amiss, which he cannot figure out, and neither can the engineers by the sounds of it. Max Verstappen on a flying lap here. Green in the first sector, but he is nearly half a second down on Charles Leclerc in sector number 1. It's personal best for Max, but half a second back from Charles Leclerc. He is nowhere near. The Red Bull is nowhere near. Ooh. Okay. This could be it, folks. This could be it. Ferrari might be back, and well, who knows? Who knows? It's looking good for them so far. We've got the Audi drivers also starting their flying laps. Everyone is out on a fresh set with the exception of Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, only the two, and George Russell. Yeah, so those three are out on used tyres. Everyone else is out on fresh tyres. Ferrari Hopium meme, where's it gone actually? Is it here? Yeah, there we go, folks. We are so back. Oh yeah, and this is the other thing. We've got only 65%, only 35% of you are subscribed. So if you guys haven't hit the subscribe button, be sure to do so. It would be much appreciated. Okie dokes. So here we go then. Kimi Antonelli is starting his flying lap now. Lando Norris does not improve actually, and Oscar Piastri also does not improve. But fair enough, they're out on used tyres. I don't think that they were bound to improve. Esteban Ocon up into P11, but that is him eliminated, ladies and gentlemen. There are 6 drivers getting eliminated out of Q2, and Ocon has been a confirmed elimination. Pierre Gasly up into P6, nice job there in the Alpine. We've got Nico Hülkenberg currently in 12th. He is also eliminated. He was looking so good in the earlier stages of qualifying, but he has been eliminated. So, and Colapinto comes across the line. He has also been eliminated. So the top, so 11th, 12th and 13th confirmed. Let's see what Lindblad, Lawson and Sainz can do on their current flying laps. Lindblad is looking pretty good, actually. Here he is, hugs the inside line, comes across the line. P10, very nice. And that pushes Max Verstappen. Wait, is that Verstappen eliminated? That is Verstappen eliminated, ladies and gentlemen. Verstappen has been knocked out of Q2. Oh my goodness me, the game is well and truly gone, and he's been eliminated by the V-carb as well. Liam Lawson puts it in 14th position. He gets out-qualified by his rookie teammate, but Verstappen is out-qualified by Isaac Hadjar, he is out-qualified by Arvin Lindblad, and he also gets disqualified, or not disqualified, he also gets eliminated out of Q2. Kimi Antonelli up into P1 by a quarter of a second. When we thought Mercedes times was over, Antonelli has proved us wrong, and he goes a quarter of a second up with a fresh set of soft tyres to his name. And looks like Ferrari have got a bit more work to do. Yeah, Sector 2 and Sector 3 is where Antonelli gained all of his time. Charles Leclerc gained all of his time in the first sector. And, well, it looks good there for Antonelli. Red Bull Civil War, and Russell has got a lot of improvement to do. He is 6/10 back from Kimi Antonelli, and knowing that the Mercedes isn't so good off the line and the Ferraris are good off the line, he is it's unlikely that he's going to gain many positions off the race start, so he's got to be close to him. Max Verstappen, I think there's something wrong with the car, mate. It's completely undrivable suddenly in this qualifying. So there we go, more complaining from Max Verstappen, more complaining from George Russell. Jumping on high speed, that's what Max is saying. While Max is having a nightmare of a season so far, this set of rules and cars just does not agree with him. Thanks for the donation there, Lilitu. Yeah, much appreciated. And yeah, you know, I would have to say that Max isn't having a great season, and you know, he's not particularly happy with the rules, but again, I think the saying that the car does not suit him is potentially a little bit inaccurate, because, you know, Max can jump into a GT3 car and absolutely rinse the GT3 drivers. Max can jump into probably a Formula E car, win all of the Formula E races. So I think Max can adapt to the car, but the car just isn't that great. And sometimes, you know, the setup just also isn't amazing. Like, you do have to admit, I think if you remember back to Brazil last year, you know, him getting knocked out and qualifying in P17, it happens. The car setup is just not there. You know, you can decide if it's a setup or if it's Max having the problem for yourself, but I'll let you decide that for your own opinion, really. Max getting out-qualified by people my age and younger is not something that I thought I'd see this morning. Yeah, exactly. But Bortoletto, though, I've got to say, 8th position there for Bortoletto. Absolute great quali from him. And yeah, Venom Rider 96, correct. He is having a banger of a season. Out-qualifies Nico Hülkenberg as well. Q3 will be getting underway momentarily, folks. So I hope you have all enjoyed the coverage so far. And if you have, then be sure to hit that like button. It goes a long way to helping out the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, then be sure to do so. Yeah, we're about 200 subscribers away from our subscriber target. Max is cooked, 100% Max is washed. I mean, you look. I think, again, you know, Formula One fans have a very short-term memory and seem to forget things rather quickly. But yeah, I'm sure most of you are probably joking when you say Max is washed. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Q3 starts in 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Very nice. Okay, where do we watch? Folks, if you do want to watch the coverage, you can watch it on Proton VPN. There's a link in the description. It's $1 a month, and then you get Proton VPN. You join an Austrian VPN server. You go into Google, you search Service TV Formula One, and you can enjoy the Formula One coverage. We've got around now upwards of 800 people using this method to watch the Formula One. The coverage is in German, so you just mute it, of course, if you don't understand German, and you listen to my commentary instead. But yeah, that's about that. Yeah. Max went from cooking to washing. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. Red Bull need to lock in exactly. Look, this is the thing, folks. If Red Bull were to lose their 19 kilograms, which they are overweight, as accords to the FIA weigh machine in China. So just to clarify, for any of the people that haven't been sort of up to date with the situation, there was a Formula One fan in the VIP box in Shanghai in China, and their VIP box in Shanghai was above the FIA weigh scales. So they were sort of up here, the FIA weigh scales down on the ground. When the cars were being weighed at the end of the race, they zoomed in with their phone camera or whatever it was, and they could get an image of how heavy the cars were at the end of the race. And the Red Bull seems to be 19 kilograms overweight. 19 kilograms overweight. So if that weight was to be lost, they would gain on the order of 5 to 6 tenths worth of lap time, and that would put them on par with the Ferraris, so about near Lewis Hamilton, near George Russell. But of course, it's a lot of work to lose 19 kilograms on a Formula One car. Everything already is built to such a lightweight specification. It is a major headache for the engineers to figure out how to make things lighter, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. They are probably the most talented engineers the world has got on offer. The Red Bull car needs some Ozempic. Exactly, it does. All right. P1 after the April break trust. Yeah, it is. We'll see. So there we go, folks. We have got the bottom 12 drivers eliminated. I think I might make my move my webcam over here and make it a little bit bigger. Why not? There we go. Or we have the option of this other data screen. I'm going to see if this works properly or not. Hopefully it shows 10 drivers, not just... Yeah, see, this is the problem. It only shows 8 drivers, which is the problem, because these 2 drivers then get cut off. But yeah, I think we'll just go back to the old one, really. Yeah, 1 minute now. 1 minute and 15 seconds till we get underway for Quali. F1 Gamer, did you get a new setup? No, I am just at my parents' house because I've got holidays from university, so that is why the setup looks different in the background. The difference between Colapinto and Gasly is unreal. I mean, yeah, it's Gasly is a whole lot quicker than Colapinto, and yeah, I mean, Gasly has also been in Formula One for a longer time. Maybe Colapinto will improve, but who knows? All right. So, folks, who do you think is going to get pole position? Is it going to be Charles Leclerc? Is it going to be Kimi Antonelli? Is it going to be George Russell? Also, I don't know why... Oh, apologies there, folks. My timer was off by a minute. We're getting Q3 already underway. And it's a 13-minute Q3 session, not a 12-minute Q3 session. And Antonelli, Russell out onto the circuit first. Then we've got Bortoletto and Gasly. We're looking here at the tyres that they've got, and both of the Mercs out on fresh sets of softs. We've then got Gasly out on a used set of soft tyres. Same thing for Bortoletto, same thing for Lindblad. And track temperature has now fallen to 28 degrees Celsius. Oh, we got Piastri. A lot of people voting for Piastri. It could be. He might be able to pull one out of the bag. Let's wait and see. Okay. Yeah, well, here we go, folks. Here we go. Isaac Hadjar says, let's go. And we got the drivers counting down here. Oh, they've got counting up the Lewis Hamilton. I'm not sure exactly what that was about. It might be about the revving up the turbo. I'm not 100% sure. They were counting up from 3 all the way to 10. So maybe Hamilton was waiting at the end of the garage and they were revving up the turbo before he goes out onto the circuit. Interesting. Best wishes for university studies. Thanks for the channel and commentary. No worries, folks. No worries. Very glad that you guys enjoy, and thanks for all the donation and the supports and things like that. It is much appreciated. Yeah, it is quite incredible, really, to have this YouTube channel. It's all a little bit crazy when I actually start thinking about it. Okay, Arvin Lindblad is the real deal. Honestly, he is. He's been performing brilliantly, out-qualifying Liam Lawson, making his way into Q3, beating Max Verstappen as well on occasion today. So it's looking good for him. Kimi Antonelli, second fastest in the first sector. That first sector's very racy. George Russell goes quicker than Antonelli in the first sector, but still slower than Charles Leclerc overall. You can just see from over here, Leclerc's, that was from Q2. This is Russell now in Q3, and this is Antonelli also in Q3. Okay, Bortoletto is going about 8/10 down on the Mercs in the first sector, but admittedly Bortoletto is out on used tyres. We've got the Ferraris also out on used tyres, and they're about to start their flying laps with Hamilton and Leclerc just exiting the final chicane. And LJ the man, thanks for the donation. Hope you're doing well. I'm excited for this. I am indeed excited for this as well. Okay, so here comes Kimi Antonelli. What's it going to be for him? Here he is, coming across the line now, hugging the inside line all the way tight to the wall, and it is a 1:28.778. Brilliant lap there from Kimi Antonelli, and that is half a tenth slower than his theoretical best. He dips also into the 1:28s, which is fantastic for him. The only driver that we've currently got in the 1:28s in Q3, and George Russell is... well, he's 3/10 back. He's got a lot of pace to find in the space of 9 minutes. So good luck, George Russell. We've got Gasly and Bortoletto third and fourth, but they're on old tyres, so their lap times aren't all that representative. Hamilton goes purple in the first sector. Incredible first sector from him. Goes quicker than Charles Leclerc by a fraction of a tenth. Now he's approaching the middle sector line. He's got the straight mode activated, and let's see what's his middle sector going to be. It's a 39.9. That is about 3/10 down on Antonelli's best middle sector. Oscar Piastri P3, he's about 3.5 tenths back from Kimi Antonelli, and he's 3/10 up on his teammate. Here comes Lewis Hamilton across the line. What's it going to be for the British driver? Here he is, and it is P5. He is 7.5 tenths back. Oh my god. Let's see if Charles Leclerc can do any better. Not that much. It is only a 1/10 improvement from Charles Leclerc, and McLaren have leapfrogged the Ferrari team. What is going on here? And how exactly that has happened, I'm not sure, but it seems like McLaren have just turned on party mode, and well, they are P3-4. It is so over. Where's the meme gone again? Yeah, it is. Oh, he also needs to stop this to. Yeah, there we go. Okay. But a 1:28 from Antonelli is pretty special. Okay, if we're looking at the theoretical best here, folks, looking at the theoretical best, Charles Leclerc and Hamilton, in theory, should be able to become quicker than Lando Norris, but slower than Oscar Piastri. Piastri's best lap was just on another level, really. So that's sort of where we're looking at. The Ferraris are expected to be between the McLarens. I mean, we'll see if the McLarens even start the race tomorrow, right? Like, it's a little bit tough to say if they're going to start the race. Norris has been having a huge amount of issues with his battery over the course of the weekend so far. They've been issue-free for Quali, but we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow for the race. Okay, what's the 2025 lap record? Well, in pole 2025 was a 1:26.9. You can see there at the top of the screen above the track map. Okay. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. Would be much appreciated. Hopefully, can make our way towards 2,000 likes. We're not too far away from our subscriber target down there. Okay. So, there we go. Our first runs of Q3 are complete, and we have got a Merc 1-2, McLaren 3-4, Ferrari 5-6, and then we've got Hadjar in 7th, Gasly 8th, Bortoletto 9th, and Lindblad in 10th. Well, Lindblad hasn't actually come out to do a lap, has he? Oh no, Lindblad I think did a lap, but he came out and then went back in again. Okay, nobody's talking about Gasly. I mean, no, Gasly, honestly, how he pulls out this pace out of the Alpine is incredible. And honestly, imagine where they would be if they didn't have Colapinto as a second driver. Imagine if Yuki Tsunoda was the second driver at Alpine, right? Tsunoda and Gasly, when they went up against each other, it was relatively equal. Like, Gasly at that point in his career had more experience than Tsunoda, so Gasly did better, but Tsunoda now has sort of obviously matured over his career, got faster. So I think if Tsunoda was to drive the other Alpine, they could find themselves as regular Q3 appearances. Okay. Aston tomorrow over under 35 laps. I mean, look, this is with Aston Martin. They supposedly have reduced the vibrations to an extent that they can finish the race, but it's not going to be fast. And apparently they've also reduced the vibrations that get passed through into the steering wheel for Alonso and Stroll. So the drivers themselves will also be able to steer the car without getting nerve damage. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Aston can do. Hopefully they've got a Suzuka special engine that will actually finish the race. But it's a very, very long race for their home race, to be honest. They're not too. But look, at least on the bright side for the Honda engineers, they've now got a month to come up with a fix to these vibration problems. And yeah, you really, really hope by the end of the month that they figure some stuff out. F1 Gamer, please explain why the track looks like a cross shape. It's because the track does cross over itself. It's the only circuit on the Formula 1 calendar that has an intersection. And I can quickly just show you on the flying lap here, but through turn number 9, you can see here the Qatar Airways thing. That is a bridge, and turn number 9 goes below, and then from turn number 15 it goes above. So it's the only circuit that has that, which makes it pretty cool. But yeah, that's all it is. I bet Yuki would have made it into Q3. He probably would have. With the Alpine, the Mercedes power unit, I suspect he probably could have done that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have got the final stages of Q3 underway, and we've got Antonelli and Russell first out onto the circuit, then Norris and Piastri. I think it is now time for some music in my headphones. What am I going to play? I'm going to play the what's it called? Oh, you guys, if you have watched the 2015 World Cup for cricket, I'm playing the theme song for that. It is an absolute banger, really. I think it'll fit pretty well with Quali today. Let's see who's going to end up on pole position. All right, 2 minutes and 53 seconds remain. The track conditions will be ideal for the Mercedes drivers. They will have the worst possible track conditions for the Mercedes drivers, but they will run less risk of getting their laps disrupted by yellow flags and things like that. And it seems like Leclerc is waiting right till the end because he wants the most optimal track conditions possible to try and get pole position here. He's still going to go for it, and I think Piastri is going to give it a shot as well. I mean, everyone's going to give it a shot, but I think Leclerc and Piastri have the best chance of toppling the Mercedes dominance. Okay, here we go. So Antonelli is leading the way from the front. Let's see what the Italian driver can do. Will he be able to put a lap together and find himself on pole position ahead of his teammate? His teammate is having issues and is complaining about rear stability. So this is prime time for Antonelli to put this together and to get pole position. So here he goes, in towards turn number 1. It is looking nice and steady there for Kimi Antonelli, and things are looking pretty good as he goes up towards turn number 4, 5 and 6. He's not massively purple or anything in the first sector, but he just needs to hold it together and deploy a bit more battery in sector number 2. And yeah, it's looking good for both of them. It's a 31.8 from Kimi Antonelli, and there you go, third fastest in sector number 1 for Kimi Antonelli. What will George Russell do? Russell goes quicker than him, and he actually goes third fastest and pushes away Kimi Antonelli. So Russell's not giving this one up so easily. He's got the nickname Mr. Saturday for a reason, and he puts it together when he needs to. Okay, Lando Norris is a 32.2 in the first sector. That is half a second down. It looks like he's out of contention for pole position. Oscar Piastri just might be able to hang on. He's a 10th back from Antonelli in sector number 1. We've got Charles Leclerc, who's going to start his flying lap right at the end with 55 seconds left on the clock. Leclerc's going last. He's using everything that he's got to go for pole position here. Okay. And through sector number 2, it is slower than their personal best for both of the Mercedes drivers. Not ideal whatsoever. And here comes Kimi Antonelli. A 1:28.7 was his previous lap. He cannot improve. He goes purple in the final sector, but does not improve. He is currently holding provisional pole. Can Russell do anything about it? Neither can he. He also goes slower on his second lap. And not a good look there for the two Mercedes drivers. Norris comes across the line. He also does not improve. 3 drivers come across the line. 3 drivers do not improve their personal best. Will Piastri be able to break that? Piastri also does not improve, and he goes... so 4 drivers have come across the line. 4 drivers yet to improve. Charles Leclerc, that first sector time is spectacular. Oh my goodness me. Here he goes then. Charles Leclerc could be on his way to pole position if his middle and final sectors are good enough. Lewis Hamilton comes across the line. He does not improve either. 5 drivers have crossed the line. 5 drivers have failed to improve. Gabriel Bortoleto, he comes across the line. First driver to improve. P8 for Bortoleto. Hadjar currently in 7th position. He aborted his lap. Into the pit lane he goes. Arvin Lindblad currently in 10th position. Can he find himself above Bortoleto or above Pierre Gasly? No, he cannot. 10th position for Lindblad, and that is game over for him. And now we've got Charles Leclerc and Gasly to come across the line. Gasly in 7th. Charles Leclerc, can he steal pole position away from the Mercedes drivers? No, he cannot. He splits the 2 McLarens. And Kimi Antonelli, it is pole position for Antonelli. What a lap. 3/10 up on George Russell, the only driver in the 1:28. Congratulations, Kimi Antonelli. Pole position number 2. Back-to-back poles for the youngster. And, well, it's looking good for Antonelli. It is looking good indeed. We've got Charles Leclerc in P4. That means he could have a pretty good run in towards turn number 1. But it is a narrow circuit going into Suzuka. We'll see what he can do. Oscar Piastri having a great lap there. P3 in the McLaren. Hopefully he can start the race. That would be brilliant. And we'll see what Russell and Antonelli do in towards turn number 1. Are we going to have a recreation of Senna and Prost? Neither driver wanting to give up their... well, to neither driver wanting to become a number 2 driver by de facto. So we'll see how that goes there. But folks, it has been a pleasure commentating to you guys, and thank you everyone for tuning in for qualifying today. The race will be happening tomorrow, so whatever time it is in the world for you right now, if you go back 2 hours, that is when the race will be starting. I'm going to end the stream. It'll take you over to the... It'll take you over to the race stream. If you could hit the like button and hit the reminder button, it really does help out the channel and the algorithm. Leclerc is not too pleased there. You can see there over the radio that he's complaining about losing lap time in the first corner. But I don't know how he's lost lap time in the first corner and still gone purple in sector 1. So he must have had still some more lap time left on the board. But yeah, couldn't put it together for Charles Leclerc. George Russell, even with all of those issues in quali, managed to get P2. So that's all from me, folks. I'm going to continue streaming on Twitch for a little bit. So if you guys do want to listen to like a little post quali chat or anything like that, then I'm live on Twitch. The channel's called F1 Gamer, so you'll be able to find it quite easily. But for the YouTube algorithm's sakes, I've got to end the stream now and send you over to the race stream. So if you hit the like button on the race stream, that would be much, much appreciated. And I will see you in probably 22 hours for the start of the race. Yeah. So I think that's all from me. I'll see you over on Twitch if you guys want to listen to the post-quali debrief. But otherwise, I'll be live for the race tomorrow on YouTube and Twitch as well. So it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys, and I shall see you guys in 22 hours. Yeah. Bye, folks.